What's going on, everybody? This is episode 6. I've actually brought on my man Chris Peralta, who is a mod for the Cool Cats. And before we get started, I know I said that I would do floor prices and I would do large sales, but I want to go away from that because I didn't want to just spill out just numbers constantly and drive people away. So what we're going to do now is once a week, whenever I do the episodes, I'll just talk about what's been happening, the big news, one big thing that's kind of been happening. And recently with this week, it's definitely been the Apes, Bored Ape Yacht Club versus the CryptoPunks. Big floor battle between them. You can see Franklin, who will be coming on the podcast in the upcoming weeks. He's been trying to get the apes above the punks. Right now, as of recording this, Larva Labs has the punks at 51.9 and the apes are on OpenSea at 51.8. So, I mean, they're going back and forth. The apes have flipped them. The punks came right back. So, I mean, it's a battle right now. That's what's been really going on. And another big thing I wanted to let everybody know is starting with this episode, every week I want to try to do a Pope for the listeners, and it'll probably be just 15. It'll be one for me, one for the guest, and one for my audio technician, and then I'll give the rest out to the listeners. I'm still not sure how I'll do that, how I'll go about giving them out, because I want the people that listen to it to kind of get the Pope. But yeah, in the following weeks we'll speak about that. But furthermore, let's talk to Chris. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Sniper. How's it going?
I'm doing good, man. Just been chilling. So, I mean, you have been in the crypto space, I mean, as long as I have, at least. How long have you been in altogether, man?
I mean, in terms of, kind of fully entrenched in it, I want to say earlier this year, like mid-January.
Okay.
I've dabbled in crypto in years past, like as early as like 2018, when a few friends mentioned it. And, at that time, it was something of great interest, but something I really didn't have a lot of conviction in. But, throughout those years from then up until now and up until January of this year, I would always keep an eye on it and see how much traction it obviously has gained over time. But yeah, I want to say mid-January was really when I was like, yeah, this is something that is not only special, it's something that is going to be here to stay. And it's been a hell of a ride ever since.
Did you start off with Bitcoin or did you start off with Ethereum?
Ethereum, yeah. I've never really jumped into Bitcoin, really because it just seemed like an intimidating venture. It's due to a large price, the huge swings. One thing I've always been attracted to with Ethereum is more or less the utility behind it, where over time it's just become this multifaceted form of currency. Whereas Bitcoin is almost like that, shiny trophy you put on a shelf and just admire from afar. Obviously nothing wrong with Bitcoin. I mean, I would love to have bags of Bitcoin right now, but Ethereum for whatever reason, it's just kind of been one of those currencies that I've been attracted to, again, just because of its use and its potential.
Yeah, I mean, for those that don't know, I mean, I've never had bags of Bitcoin. I don't think I've ever bought into Bitcoin, even when I was told about it in the early years. Very bullish on Ethereum, obviously, because we got so many NFTs, a lot of utility behind it, like you said. Very anxious to see what Ethereum 2.0 does. When it comes to these projects, NFTs, you getting into crypto earlier in the year, did you also get into NFTs at the same time? And whenever you got into NFTs, did you start off with Cool Cats? Because that's where I personally met you at. So I didn't know if that was maybe your first project or if you had dabbled into others before that.
Yeah, it actually wasn't my first. My journey has been quite interesting in the sense of I've really had the great fortune of sort of stumbling onto very prominent projects. So going back to mid-January, really what got me into the space was NBA Top Shot. And I know I'm not alone in that. And I've always told everybody that I'm close with and everybody that I'm close with in the space that there's this ongoing love-hate relationship with Top Shot. The love being that without question, it ushered in this entire wave of users, collectors, enthusiasts, and people like myself who were really new to this foreign space. And Top Shot was a great way to kind of bring us along for the ride and really educate us and prep us. And then there's the hate side of Top Shot, which, if you go on Twitter, you'll see it everywhere, whether it's their communication, whether there's the idea of oversupply, lack of new users. You could probably have a whole podcast on that. But
I think there are some people that have a whole podcast on Top Shot, honestly.
Oh yeah. I'm saying you could probably get a whole podcast on people just hating on Top Shot.
Oh my, yeah, easily.
But at the same time, it's something that I'll always have a special place in my heart for, because it really introduced me to NFTs. It introduced me to the space. And it all started from an article that I found on Twitter from Jonathan Bales, who is a prominent fantasy football guru. He's a degenerate poker player. He's big into crypto, and all of those things kind of intertwine with one another, all of those spaces. And I ran into one of his tweets. It was a prominent tweet where the headline was, I just spent 50 grand on a John Morant YouTube clip. Here's why. And I saw that and I'm like, what is this? I need to literally read the article and see what it's about. And at that point, I was hooked. And I clearly remember I was in Miami, Florida. I took a few days off of work, needed a much needed R&R session, just kind of vibe out on the beach, vibe out to some Cuban food, good weather, all of that stuff. And,
yeah.
and dude, I ended up spending that trip on Top Shot. I vividly remember I was going to go to a bar in Wynwood, and I stayed in the car outside of the bar that night because I was just obsessed with Top Shot. I was buying base packs. I was just sucked into this new world that I had no idea existed. And yeah, that essentially got me into the space. And at the time, I didn't make that connection that, these Top Shot moments were NFTs. It was still the idea of okay, these are digital collectibles. I really don't know what NFTs are per se, but I know what Top Shot moments are. And, from there, it just became this unhealthy obsession where it was Top Shot 24/7. It was being involved in the Discord. And yeah, then fast forward a few months, I happened to stumble upon a little project that, you and your listeners may know, Bored Ape Yacht Club. Just a small project,
Just a small one, nothing major.
Yeah, that actually was insane because that connected from the Top Shot community. Steven Schiller, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him.
I'm not.
He was an avid Top Shot collector. He had his own Twitch stream. Super positive guy in the space. He mentioned Bored Apes during their minting weekend. And I didn't have the opportunity to mint by the time I found out about them. It had sold out, but it was really only a few days after their mint weekend. And I'm staring at these things and I'm like, what are these pictures of apes? Is this at that time, I just couldn't make the connection of why there was value behind these. But more than anything, I trusted really my sense of kind of going for it. It kind of just felt right. Bored Apes were literally my first purchase on OpenSea ever, which, looking back is going to be so crazy to think about that, I just casually spent 0.25 on a Bored Ape,
You
and
still
at that
have
time, I don't know. I actually don't,
Oh
And that
man.
actually that's going to coincide with how I found Cool Cats and how
Okay.
to this day I'm uh I don't have an ounce of regret in terms of my decisions with Board Ape, because Board Apes taught me so much about the space. It really gave me a crash course into how to approach the space. So fast forward a bit more, um, Board Apes eventually got me into Cool Cats, because by that point I was much more involved in Discords, and uh, it was a scenario where I saw Cool Cats, and I connected right away. It was a much different feeling than when I had first saw the Bored Apes. Um, the Cool Cats, just seeing the Discord during its early days, scrolling through the secondary art. Um, that was another thing I missed out on. I missed out on the Cool Cats Mint Day by about 5-6 days. I didn't join the server until, I want to say, July 6th or July 5th, and I know their Mint Day was July 1st. But you know what? That it is what it is with that. I'm a big believer in just things happening for a reason, and timing of everything. And July 6th was that day I stumbled upon the Cool Cats and the community, and it's just been an insane ride ever since.
No, it's been an insane ride, I think, for everyone, because I mean, I think most people don't know I started with Top Shot, and starting with Top Shot, I wasn't a super early adapter to it or anything, but I was a big lover of sports. And I was like, I mean, I like basketball, and I can't remember where I had saw it, but at the time, I believe trading cards were also on the big boom again as well, due to COVID. I want to say all this is on the same timeline, but anyways, Top Shot was where I kind of began, that in Zed, unfortunately. But with Top Shot, it was just so crazy to see. Like you said, I didn't think of Top Shot as an NFT by any means. I literally just thought that I had a digital video, and it was kind of hard to like understand that like I owned the digital video and all that. But I would do my research and then come to kind of find NFTs. And most people laughed at me. I can't lie, as they should. Anybody spending at the time that much money on an image and without understanding it, just that was mind blowing to them. But I also joined Cool Cats around the same time as you. I missed the mint as well, and even then, I think I joined the 13th is when I officially joined, and it was just crazy. Like you said, it just clicked. And still to this day, when I go into a project like Toy Boogers, Lucky Ducky is the newest one that I'm in, it just kind of like clicked. There's some projects that I've missed out on. I've probably missed out on a lot of money just because I didn't pick them up or I got out of them too soon. I mean, you look at it, I traded 5 doodles for 1 Cool Cat, and that's when doodles were at 0.08, I think, and now they're at almost 4 ETH. I don't regret it one bit. I love Pete. Pete was able to get into the doodles collection. I was able to get my second Cool Cat, and like you said, I don't regret it at all. Now I kind of have a feel of what it's like with these projects, what it comes to whenever it's like trading. Even if some don't remember the Stoner Cats, people learned a lot from them just because you have 2 people front running it, and they might be a celebrity, Mila Kunis, Ashton Kutcher, doesn't necessarily mean that this is going to be the project that is the next Bored Ape Yacht Club. So,
Right.
yeah, always do your own research. Another thing I wanted to ask you before we moved on to another topic, with Cool Cats being where you work, you're a mod over there. I guess 2 quick questions. One, how did you get the job? Maybe not how you got the job. How long have you been doing the job over there? And I'm sure you're enjoying it, but let us know, talk us through what you've been doing over there.
For sure. So, just to be clear, it's technically not a job. All of the moderators within the Cool Cats community are volunteers.
Yo, I did not know that.
So, yeah. So, I do know that there's, you know, there's work being done behind the scenes now to fortify the overall, community aspect. Obviously with their ongoing interviews. I certainly have faith that they have intentions on building out a strong core of moderators, of project managers, community managers. Um, I see that coming very soon. But yeah, no, it's not a job, and honestly, if it was a job and we were getting paid and I was getting paid, I still wouldn't call it a job because it just doesn't feel like that. It's quite the cliche, but I recall the first day they appointed myself and Taimo, Ali, Mapuro, a few others. I had spoke during that town hall when they kind of introduced us, and one of the first things I said was, you know, obviously grateful for the opportunity, but it's not going to feel like work. It's not going to feel like a job, and it's just going to feel like as if I was still just an essential member of the community. Despite the change in role, there was really no transition in terms of how I approach the community, how I interact with the community. Because it's been all love since day one. The vibes have always been great, and to me, that role just gave me more opportunity to do what I do best, which is engage with the community, have fun, help people. I've always been a helper. I've always been looking out. I'm always that type at a house party. If I'm hosting, I got to make sure everybody has a drink in their hand. Everybody has a plate of good food in their hand. The music's bumping, the aesthetics are right, the vibe is right. That's where I put those priorities. Yeah, I just don't view it as like, say, a quote unquote job. Just because it's a blast. It's real fun.
Oh, yeah, that's a great answer. And for those listening, obviously we're going to the party at Chris's house because it sounds like it's amazing. But no, that's awesome, man. They've always been kind in there. I say it almost every single episode. Cool Cats is amazing. They've always been amazing to me, and even the mods in there. Regardless if you're a mod, team member, or even a creator, it don't matter if your name's yellow, purple, orange. They all treat you the same. Nobody thinks they're higher than the next person in there, and everyone's 100% committed to helping the next person, and it's all genuine. I love the community. The only other quick question I had for you, Chris, was, are there maybe any other projects that you're dabbling in, not helping or working for, just some that you might like, or want to get in?
Yeah. I mean, right now, like in terms of my portfolio, I've kind of kept things close to the chest. I don't like to expand into many projects,
Right.
for a variety of reasons. Especially given the way the market sentiment is right now,
Yeah,
with the holidays, with this cloud hanging over everyone's head about tax loss harvesting and just taxes in general. And ETH is down a bit, yet the bull run of NFTs hasn't hit. What's going on? I feel like there's this storm kind of just whirling a variety of factors right now, that for me personally, I'm making sure I'm investing in projects that I truly believe in. Right now, that would definitely be Cool Cats first and foremost. We love the cats. That's not going to change.
never.
I was in the Doodle community, and I'm right there with you, man. I was able to mint 5 during mint day.
Yeah.
At the time, I was in need of some in real life liquidity, and it was such an amazing opportunity to be presented with that scenario where I could use these doodles to help me out in real life, and so I did. I managed to sell all 5 right around like 1 to 1.25 ETH,
Oh, let's
and
go.
yeah, it was a blessing, man, and I'm still in that community, not as active as I'd like to be, mainly because, as a moderator, my priority is going to be with the Cool Cats. But the Doodles, first and foremost, are a great community, and that is one that I'm in the process of rejoining. I've been slowly scrapping up ETH all of December to most likely pivot back into that community. Um, I'm also a part of the Mutant Eight Yacht Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I had mentioned earlier, when I was, very unexperienced, very naive to the space, when I had that board ape, it did so much. It educated me, and then it provided me this platform to dive into other projects. So I knew when there was a chance to get back in the form of a mutant ape, I knew that was a no-brainer. So I'm holding that one very, very cozily, just because it's right there in line with, one of the premier projects in the space. Some other ones, Creature World. I'm in Creature World. I have a couple of creatures. Um, that in itself could be a whole episode.
Oh my
Just,
goodness.
just the fascinating, I guess, whirlwind of what has taken place in that community over the last week. Um, I was fortunate to be one of the earlier Discord members in Creature World, to the point where they airdropped a creature to us during their minting.
Oh man, I
Again,
didn't know that.
yeah, so yeah, we have a channel in there. It's called the Resident Channel, and I'm sure if you're in general, you might see residents pop up. You click on their bio, and you'll
Yeah.
see the little resident role in Discord. And residents are essentially the very first like early supporters of Creature World. I want to say maybe the first 200 or 300 that we're in, and then not necessarily being the first, but also being supportive and being part of that community as it was building itself out in those early days. So I do have ties with them. There is that bias where, despite what's been going on lately, I'm still connected to that project. I believe in Danny and that team. I've always loved the art. That's really what gravitated me towards it from day one. Was just I'm obsessed with that art style. It kind of just entrances you and can teleport you into it. Um, so that's a project that I'll be sticking close to, despite the ups and downs. Um, and then some other projects that really have spawned from the Cool Cats community would be Letters by Vinny. I have a few of those.
Oh, Vinny is a good guy. Vinny is a good guy. Great art as well.
Oh man, Vinny's the best. I actually had a chance to meet him during NFT NYC at the Creature World event, where they had that huge inflatable playground in the middle of like a historic ballroom. Just that juxtaposition of a inflatable like slide in the middle of this room that's probably was built in like the 1800s or something. That was a sight to see. But yeah, met Vinny, super cool dude. Shout outs to Vinny, shout outs to Ted Lasso, shout out to Dose, the whole Letters team. I rock with them heavy. So that's another project I'm in. And yeah, those are kind of the big ones. Like I set up a vault, like a cold wallet, I should say, a few months back to make sure the projects that I know I'm going to be holding long term will
Yeah.
be safe. So those are pretty much the projects that I have confidence in going forward to ride out with through any storm.
No, you mentioned some good ones. My big favorite, of course, is as well Cool Cats. And those listening, if you have any of these major NFTs or any NFT worth a lot of money or something that you value, so many things going around here, people trying to scam. Please get a cold wallet, a ledger. Please get some type of protection for your assets. I can't stress this enough. It's the same as doing your own research. So yeah, please do it on that and get some. I can't stress that enough. And like you said earlier, Bored Ape, I've never had one. And I've even said from the beginning, just I've told so many people, I was never a huge fan on the art. I thought the BAYC community was absolutely crazy, phenomenal. Like you see one person tweet out Ape Follow Ape, and it's like a slew of people come in. So I think it's crazy good. And a big shout out to Grateful Ape, because he reached out to me, told me that he listened to my podcast. Just wanted to tell him thank you, and that you people should also check his out. He has a podcast called The Bored Ape Gang Show, and I believe you can find that on Buzzsprout, where I use my website, but you can also find him on Apple Podcast, I'm sure, or Google. So guys can check that out as well. Another big thing going on in the community with all these projects, Christmas coming along. One thing I wanted to give a nod to was the Right Click Give. It's the largest charity fundraising event so far in NFT history. I'm hoping someone beats it, obviously, throughout time, because we want to keep on seeing people give back to, others. It's a whole 50, I think like 50 or more of the top projects. 100 of the proceeds go to Blankets of Hope, and it's an auction on OpenSea. So currently it's going from the 20th to the 24th and ends at 12 p.m. Eastern. But when this episode airs officially on Monday, I believe it will be over. So 3 of the top bids as of right now would be number 1 going to VFriends. They have a bid of 8.5 WETH. Gutter Cats coming in second at 3.69, and Cyberkong's coming in at 3.2. So it's a good thing for the community. I love seeing people get together and do something like this. Hopefully they get a lot of money, and like I said, 100% of the proceeds go to the Blankets of Hope. But Chris was talking earlier, and we dabbled over sports and stuff. Here recently, PGA and Steph Curry decided they were going to do NFTs. So we're going to speak a little bit on both of those. One being with Steph Curry. Chris, did you see any of that Steph Curry controversy? Not really controversy, I guess, but the whole ordeal come up with his NFTs?
I have not, no. But, I've seen kind of this trend in the space where, athletes are starting to branch out and promote, create, sell their own NFTs, whether it be Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Rob Gronkowski back in the day, a few months back or so. Shaquille O'Neal is popping one, which is his is dope, because I just recently found out that all primary and secondary sale proceeds are going to a foundation charity. So that's pretty dope. I did hear the drop itself was a bit of a mess.
I'm sure.
Which is probably, the norm with projects. It's kind of the bump in the road that happens. But I think it's really sick that, again, all those proceeds are going to charity. It's something that we're definitely going to see more and more. So I'm all for it. I'm all for any type of exposure to the space. Obviously there's the critiques of whether it looks like a clear cash grab, or whether there's authenticity behind it, whether the art is trash versus the art is actually dope, utility versus no utility. You could do that whole rundown for any project that comes out. But in regards to athletes kind of getting into the space, I'm all for it, because, the athlete themselves, they are a brand. They have a loyal group of fans, of followers, of consumers. So it's only natural, I feel, for that to kind of click together. The athlete, the brand, and then the NFT space in itself. I'm excited to see just that whole thing kind of expand more and more as we go along.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because that's kind of the question I was going to get to, was how you felt about it. And of course, I never want anyone to take this podcast as financial advice, but I do think if you were looking into these athletes and looking for people that are doing it correctly, I love the way that Steph Curry is trying to go about it. What he did was he dropped um, a certain amount of NFTs on his website. The only thing I disliked is that it was bought with USD. So you had to pay with it with a credit card, I believe. You couldn't buy it with any cryptocurrency. That was a little down part, but you could sell them on OpenSea. I think there was like 2,974. And they would be released of his new milestone, which was the 3-point record. But you had a chance of getting one of 5 shoes, one of them being the exact shoes that he wore while breaking the record. Them are currently on OpenSea going for 2.5 WETH, and the floor being on the cheapest one, like 0.46. So all of them are way above $333. You definitely made it. But the thing was, you didn't get the actual shoe. So what you was doing was, rather you got any of these shoes, these were for the metaverse. These would be worn in things like the Sandbox, things like Decentraland, and other platforms. I think there was 3 more. But yeah, I really like how Steph Curry is trying to go about it. It was a huge milestone for him. And even himself, he's in places like Bored Ape Yacht Club. He's trying to be involved as much as he can. I mean, when you're someone of his caliber, I would assume you can only do so much. Can't really sit on Discord when you're playing in the NBA. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see people like him, Josh Hart, and others try to get involved. Von Miller. But yeah, man. I told Chris that this episode would not go crazy long because we do have the holidays coming up. People are super busy, so this will officially be the last episode of the year. And yesterday was officially 1 month since we've started the podcast. So again, thank you, Chris. Thank everyone that just came on here, and really thank everyone for listening too, because I mean, the fact that even one person listens blows my mind. It still blows my mind every day that I've been doing this for a month, and it just seems effortless and fun. So Chris, is there anything you wanted to close on, man? Any closing thoughts? Anything that you wanted to let the people know yourself?
Yeah, man. Well, first and foremost, congratulations on the podcast and the success.
Thank you.
I've definitely been kind of admiring from afar, and you're definitely a natural at this, kind of going through it with you now. And yeah, I know that feeling, man. I know it's cool to create content and to, excuse me, receive any form of recognition, like you said, whether it's one person listening or 2 people listening in a foreign country. That's pretty cool. So congrats on that, man. Pretty honored to be the last one of 2021. This year has been absolutely bonkers in so many ways. The ups, the downs. A year ago today, NFTs did not exist in my world. So to be here now, with you, with pretty much everybody else in the community, it's dope, man. So, yeah, I just want to close out by saying to be safe out there, enjoy the holidays, don't sweat the small L's, don't shame yourself from anything, whether it's, selling, not getting into a project, getting into a project too late. All that stuff is so easy to kind of pile up on oneself. And I think we need less of that, and I'm a firm believer right now, when I had mentioned kind of that storm earlier of all these different things kind of factoring into the overall sentiment of the space. I think there's just burnout right now. Everybody's experiencing that in a variety of levels, whether it's just pure fatigue, financial stress, burdens, being attached to a screen for too long, taking things too seriously, being too hard on yourself. I do see a lot of that happening right now. I'm hopeful with this upcoming holiday break, we can kind of all reset, recharge. We have a lot to look forward to in 2022, especially the cats, man. Oh man.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh man. We got so much in store. I got so much alpha that I'm oozing right now that I can't release. That's how wild it's gonna be. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I have no alpha. The team tells me nothing. Um, so I just know 2022 is gonna be a blast. So let's look forward to that. Let's look forward to a fruitful 2022, a healthy 2022, and yeah, man, let's close out this year with some positive vibes. It's been a blast.
Man, you said it best, Chris. I mean, like I said, I can't thank you enough for the positive words, and that's a huge thing that I didn't even touch on, and it's all good. But Christmas coming up has NFTs. A lot of people, it'll be a big time for a lot of people to share the word, to share NFTs. But please don't forget, it's the holidays. Spend time with your family. New Year's is coming up. Even if you want to take a break from Christmas to literally the first of the year, NFTs aren't going anywhere. I know the space moves fast in the NFT world. Like one day is like a year, it feels like. But I promise, if you're invested into these projects that you feel are really what you believe in, then it don't matter if they were to go to 0 or 100 in a week. Like, you're still going to love them. You're still going to be there. They're still going to be there. So yeah, definitely take that mental break you needed, because I know myself, I got burnt out for a little bit before I even started the podcast, and I just felt like stressed 24/7, and I still get stressed now. But it's, once you sit back, kind of realize where we're all going, look at where you personally was a month ago, 2 months ago, and how far you've grown yourself, how far the community's grown. Let that sit in. Go into the new year with a great mindset. Have something on your list to do. Pick up an NFT, a cheap one, expensive one, whatever you feel like. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great holiday season. I hope everyone goes into the new year happy, loves, all that. And we will see all of you guys and girls. I mean, not leave nobody out, guys and girls, in 2022. So like I said, thank you so much, Chris, for coming on, man. It meant the world to me.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Happy holidays to you and yours, and we love the cats. Peace
Yeah,
out.
man. Peace out, man. And as for everyone else, that'll wrap up today's show. Like I said, I'll learn how to distribute the popes out, and I'll keep people informed on that. But happy holidays, enjoy it, and good luck going into 2022. Y'all have a great day.